As the Trojans flee from the fighting across the trenches and toward Troy, Zeus wakes from his slumber. Zeus sees the routed Trojans and Hector knocked out of the fighting beside the river Xanthus. Zeus explodes at Hera. "What a disaster you create, uncontrollable Hera, you and your treachery, halting Hector's assault and routing Hector's armies. I wouldn't be surprised, my queen, if you were the first to reap the pernicious whirlwind you have sown. I'll whip you stroke on stroke. Don't you recall the time I strung you up in midair and slung those 2 massive anvils down from your feet and lashed both hands with a golden chain you could not break? There in the clouds and high clear sky you dangled, and the mighty gods on steep Olympus raged away, impotent. What could they do to set you free, standing there helpless? And any god I caught, I'd seize and send him plunging over the ramparts, head first till he hit the earth, barely alive. Not even then would the stark grief for Heracles release my breaking heart. My own godlike son, you with the north wind's help had coaxed the gales to send him scudding over the barren salt sea. You, always plotting miseries for my son. You bore him off to the crowded town of Kos, but there I saved him, whisked him away to safety, back to the stallion land of Argos, worn with torment. I will help you remember. You'll give up your treacheries. You will see if your warm embraces serve you then, your bed of lust where you sank me in your arms. Down from the gods you came to waylay me. You seduced me blind." And Hera responds, "Earth, be my witness now, the vaulting sky above, and the great, dark, cascading waters of the Styx. I swear by the greatest, grimmest oath that binds the happy gods, by your sacred head, by the bed of our own marriage, that I, at least, would never take in vain. Never by the will of mine did the god of earthquakes wreak havoc among the Trojan ranks, and Hector, and surge to help their foes. It must be his own great rage that drives him on. He pitied the sight of Argives pinned against their ships, not I. Why, I'd be the first to counsel him, to take your lead, Zeus, wherever you command, my king of the black cloud." And Zeus is pleased. "Excellent, Hera. Now, if in the years to come you will accord with me, my wide-eyed queen, throned with me in the gods' decisive sessions, then Poseidon, bent as he is to go his own way, must change at once and wrench his will to ours, to yours and mine united. So then, Hera, if you mean what you say down to the last word, go back now to the deathless tribes of gods and summon Iris to come before my presence. Summon Apollo too, lord of the famous bow. Iris will fly to Achaea's bronze-armed troops and direct the god who shakes the earth to stop, to quit the war and return to his own ocean halls. And let Apollo drive Prince Hector back to battle, breathe power back in his lungs, make him forget the pains that racked his heart. Let him whip the Achaeans in headlong panic rout and roll them back once more, tumbling back on the oar-swept ship of Peleus' son Achilles, and he will launch his comrade Patroclus into action, and glorious Hector will cut him down with a spear in front of Troy. Once Patroclus has slaughtered whole battalions of strong young fighting men, and among them all my shining son Sarpedon. But then, in rage for Patroclus, brilliant Achilles will bring Prince Hector down. And then, from that day on, I'll turn the tide of war. Back the fighting goes, no stopping it, ever, all the way till Achaean armies seize the beetling heights of Troy through Athena's grand design. But till that hour, I will never cease my anger, nor will I permit a single immortal god to save the Argive forces, not till Achilles' prayer has been fulfilled. So I vowed at first. I bowed my head in assent. That day the goddess Thetis clutched my knees, begging me to exult. Achilles, scourge of cities. Hera obeys Zeus and leaves for Olympus. When she returns, all the immortals rise to their feet, but Hera goes to Themis, who hands her a cup. Themis asks Hera, "Hera, what brings you back? You look so harried." "Oh, I know. The son of Kronos has terrified you, your everlasting husband." "Please, Themis," Hera says, "don't ask me to go through that ordeal again. You know his rage yourself, so rigid, unrelenting. But you keep on presiding over the gods, Themis, the feasting in the halls. You'll hear it all, and with you all the immortals. What a chain of disasters Zeus brings to light. Nothing to lift all spirits alike. I warn you, not among men, not among gods. If one's still left who warms to the feasts, his heart at peace these days." Hera then addresses the rest of the Olympians, furious but smiling. "What fools we are, storming against Zeus! We're mad! And still we engage him, trying to block his way with a word or show of force. But there he sits, off and away, with never a care or qualm for us, claiming that he among the deathless gods on high is first in strength and power, none in the world his rival. So each of you here must take what blows he sends. Why, Ares, I gather, has just received his share. His son is dead in battle, his dearest son, Ascalaphus. Doesn't invincible Ares claim to be his father?" This provokes Ares, who pounds his thighs and lets loose. "Now, you gods of Olympus, who could blame me now if I descend on Achaea's ships to avenge my son, my butchered son? Even if fate will crush me, striking me down with the thunderbolt of Zeus, sprawled in the blood and dust with dead men's corpses." Ares arms for battle, but Athena talks him out of it. Then Hera summons Apollo and Iris and commands them to fly to Ida. This they do. Zeus tells Iris to go to Poseidon and tell him to quit the slaughter and war. Iris goes to Poseidon and delivers the command of Zeus. Poseidon is enraged, but Iris talks him into accepting the will of Zeus. So the great god of earthquakes leaves the Achaean ranks. At the same time, Zeus sends Apollo to help Hector. "Go, my friend, to the side of Hector armed in bronze. The god of the quakes who grips and pounds the earth has just this moment plunged in his own bright sea, diving away from all my mounting anger. Just think what the gods would have heard if we had come to blows, even those beneath the ground who circle Kronos. Better for me this way, Poseidon too, to yield before my mighty hands, outraged as he is, but not without sweat would we have called it quits. But now take up in your hands my storm cloud shield, its dark tassels flying. Shake it over the Argives, stampede their heroes in panic, archer of the sky. But make this glorious Hector your main concern. Rouse his breakneck courage, tell, racing in terror, the Argives reach the fleet and the Hellespont in rout. From that point on I plan my tactics, give commands to grant the Argives breathing room in battle." So Apollo goes down to Troy, and Zeus revives Hector. Apollo taunts the concussed Hector. "Hector, son of Priam, why so far from your troops? sitting here, half dead? Some troubles come your way? And Hector responds, Who are you, my lord? Who of the high gods to probe me face to face? Haven't you heard? I was killing his friends against the ships when the lord of the war cry, Ajax, struck me down with a boulder square across my chest. He took the fight right out of me, I can tell you. I thought for certain I'd go down to join the dead, descend to the house of death this very day. I thought I'd breathed my last. And Apollo responds, Courage! Look what a strong support the son of Cronos speeds from Ida to take your side and shield you. I am Phoebus, Apollo, lord of the golden sword, I who saved you before, and along with you your towering city too. So up now, Hector, command your drivers here and all their hundreds to lash their plunging teams at the hollow ships, and I'll surge on ahead, clearing the whole way for the team's assault. I'll bend the Argives back. So Hector rejoins the fighting, and once again the Achaeans give ground and flee from the fighting. With Apollo's aid, Hector and the Trojans push the Achaeans back to the trench and rampart. The Trojans are looting the dead, and Hector has to urge them on. Now storm the ships, drop those bloody spoils. Any straggler I catch, hanging back from the fleet, right here on the spot I'll put that man to death. No kin, no women commit his corpse to the flames. The dogs will tear his flesh before our walls. While the Trojans and the Achaeans are fighting for the ramparts, Patroclus decides to leave Eurypylus, who was wounded, and finally go back to Achilles. The fighting rages on until they fight for the very ships themselves.